Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to review Into the Badlands. Now, Into the Badlands is a series that was introduced about 2 years ago, so I'm going to review seasons 1 and 2. And a new episode just came out not few days ago, so I'm going to review that separately. But right now, I'm going to talk about Into the Badlands season 1 and 2. I'm going to combine it together. It's not going to be too long, but it might be about 15, maybe so minutes. And Into the Badlands is about this apocalyptic world where it's not your stereotypical apocalypse. The world's not destroyed, everything's not in shambles. There's still electricity is still around in certain places, certain things are still around, like cars and vehicles. Certain vehicles are still there too, but it's interesting because guns and whatnot have been banned. In this world, apparently war had happened so bad and so long. Not nuclear war, just plain old-fashioned war, like guerrilla war, had been happening so bad that in this collective area, now they don't say it's like the world, because you never really see the world, just in this area, on this continent, wherever they are, which they don't go into because our here and now was about 100, like 200, like 100 or so years ago or something like that. So like our here and now is like old stuff. It's like no one even, it's like, it's weird. It's weird the way it plays it out. But anyways, guns have been banned. All forms of firearms and things have been banned. The government itself, whatever it was in that area, has been completely destroyed. And it's nothing left but this Badland. And in the Badlands, there's these things called barons. Barons are exactly what you think they are. They're like these leaders of these of each little region in the Badlands. And there's like 6 of them. And in the first season, you follow I can't remember his name off the top of my head because it's been a little bit stuff seen the first season. But the first season, you follow Sonny. This main character named Sonny, who is played great, by the way. Sonny's a badass, and he's the thing called a Clipper. Now, Clipper is a Baron's right hand, basically the badass of his group. Basically, a Clipper is just this ruthless killer. He's the headhunter for the Baron. He's the Baron's executioner. He's the one the Baron sends out to get shit done. He's the one who kills the most people. And Sonny is the greatest Clipper who ever lived. He's got a kill count that is unheard of, and every Clipper gets like a tattoo on their body or in their backs, specifically on their bodies for each kill. And Sonny's body is just covered in tattoos. But like you would imagine, Sonny doesn't really want to be this. He is it to survive. And like the show does a great job of pretty much doing that thing where everyone's doing what they can to survive. But anyway, you follow Sonny, who finds this kid called MK. Now, MK is this kid, he was part of this small little family, and his family got killed, and Sonny kind of felt bad for him, and kind of felt like, damn kid. He saw a lot of himself in MK, because he'd been through the same things MK had. But then it turns out that MK might not be normal. I'll get into it later, but MK might not be normal. And it turns out there's a reason people were coming after MK to begin with. But anyways, the Baron, Sonny's Baron is this ruthless guy. Like I said, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's this ruthless guy who is just a evil son of a bitch. You've seen him in many movies. He was in Triple X. He's been in a lot of movies. The actor they cast, he did a great job as this evil, kind of conniving dude who does a good job of portraying that he wasn't always like this, and life just made him like this. Which I will give this show this. This show does a great job of making you realize that these people, throughout the course of the show, are like the way they are because just it's the world they live in. But MK is this nice little character of like, he has this sort of almost innocence about him, where like, he doesn't want to live in this world, that like where he sees more than just this world we're in, but the world's slowly corrupting him as well. But anyway, season 2 goes how you would imagine. 1 goes exactly how you imagine it goes. Sonny eventually saves MK. It turns out Sonny's with this girl that he loves. Sonny's been off with a girl, which you're not supposed to do as a Clipper, is get married and have kids. And he wants to leave. Sonny wants to leave, and he's going to help MK on the way out the door. While in the background, there's this woman called the Widow. She's the wife of another God damn it. I just said, man, why is it going after not Clipper, Baron. She's the wife of another Baron. And she murdered her husband because her husband was terrible. He was terrible. He was abusive to her. He was abusive to the girls. As it's revealed later on throughout the course of season 1, he raped a couple of the younger girls. And she just couldn't take it anymore. And she killed his ass. She straight up murdered him. And then forcibly took his spot, murdered all his men, and started this whole group of females. And she became this new Baron. And she went under the name The Widow. And she's a pretty badass character too. She's a pretty bad bitch, and the only person and I love it because the only person in the show who can genuinely there was only 2 people in the show who can actually beat her, and that's the evil Baron who Sonny works for, who eventually he turns on because he's like, I can't do this anymore, and her. Sonny. Those are the only 2 people who can beat her because she is a bad bitch, the Widow. She's great. She's a bad bitch. She's strong. She's really independent. Though I love her kind of arc over the course of this season to next season because she kind of starts off as like this Robin Hood. Well, not Robin Hood, but she kind of starts off as like this with noble goals that just slowly kind of are revealed to be kind of selfish, but she's deluded herself a bit. But and then you got this reveal that this girl that works for the Widow, under the Widow, is starting to fall for MK. They're both young lovers, and it's kind of they kind of got that cross lover thing going with those 2. But season 1 ends pretty cool. It ends, but let's get into the positives about this entire show. Really, the action sequences are phenomenal. The choreography on the fight scenes into the Badlands are awesome. They're awesome. They harken back to a classic era in martial arts movies. You know what I'm talking about. The ones where it's hours of just there's no cuts, there's no CG, there's no real cuts. It's just hours of great choreography and great guys just going at it and just coming up with original ways to get into moves and fun ways to do it. The choreography is fantastic. The fight sequences are fantastic. The main character, Sonny, is a bad motherfucker. Almost everyone's a bad motherfucker. The world is original too. I'll give them that. It's an original apocalypse. It's not stereotypical muhaha apocalypse. It's weird. It's what of the people? It's weird because they never explain how they got rid of all the guns, which starts to get into the negatives of the show, which is there are a lot of plot holes and there are a lot of leaps, and there's a lot of cheese in the show. There's a lot of things that happen that I'm that makes no. I'm how? But I let it slide because a lot of the characters are good and a lot of the stuff is good. But at the end of season 1, Sonny kills his Baron. Cuts him down. MK gets kidnapped because, as it turns out, MK has this thing inside of him called the Gift, where his eyes turn black and he becomes this just murderous machine. And MK gets kidnapped by some other people who have the same eyes, but they can control it. Sonny tries to get his family out, but it doesn't work out for him, and he ends up getting enslaved. And the ending of season 1 is a pretty dour ending. And it kind of ends with the Widow rising in power. So that's the end of season 1. I'd give season 1 an 8. I had enjoyed the hell out of season 1. I thought it was fun. Season 2 was when it picked up and became an 8.5. Season 2 I think is better than season 1, but just by a little bit. Sonny's enslaved. He's in this huge kind of old school slaver camp where he's kind of in this mine and stuff, and he meets a guy, Nick Frost's character, which I also can't remember his name off the top of my head because like I said, I'm not great with names, people. I'm not great with names. But Nick Frost's character, who, if you wonder who Nick Frost is, he's always in these movies. He was in Shaun of the Dead as the big guy in Shaun of the Dead, or the big guy in Hot Fuzz. That's who Nick Frost is. He is hysterical. Nick Frost is so he gives an element to the show that I didn't know I wanted. This straight up roguish comedy big guy who you forget that he's a big guy because he just plays it up so well, and he's so fun. It's so fun. Seeing him and Sonny together are great because Sonny's just this typical stoic, just doesn't really say much, just kind of just straight face, just like doesn't really say much because he's he's kind of this stoic badass. And Nick Frost's character is just this bumbling idiot who happens to be way more smarter than you think he is, and happens to be way more connected and resourceful than you think he is. Not to mention he can actually fight. So he might be this bumbling idiot, drunken idiot, but he's actually a useful and dangerous and actually capable bumbling, stumbling idiot. And it's fun seeing those two play off each other. Eventually, they find a way to break out of that prison and go on the run. And then you kind of cut to other things. MK was kidnapped by these people, these monks, who are trying to teach him how to control his abilities. That's why they took him. So it kind of took a turn there where it wasn't as malicious as you thought it was. Like, at the end of season 1, you thought, oh my god, what are they going to do to him? Turns out they were just trying to train him, and they're using his abilities. Though it didn't work out one way or another, and things kind of went south, and eventually MK fucking got the hell up out of there. Because as it turns out, they were kind of doing some crazy shit. But anyways, MK ended up getting out of there. Then it kind of cuts to the Widow, and the Widow's growing in power. She's becoming more dangerous. The Clipper who trained Sunny, played by Lang. He was in Avatar. Something Lang. I never can say his name right. Stephen Lang, I think. I can't. But he's the Clipper who trained Sunny. He's in a wheelchair. Even in a wheelchair, he's still a bad motherfucker. He trained Sunny. He was, before Sunny, the greatest Clipper who ever lived. So that's pretty cool. He trained Sunny, but he turned on his Baron and joined up with the Widow because he believed in what the Widow was going for. And the remains of Sunny's Baron that were left are gone. Pretty much go to his child. Pretty much goes to the Baron's son, who's a weaselly bastard who really can't fight worth a damn and who really is only a huge disappointment to his father. He's a better talker than he is an actual fighter, which is a disappointment to his father. And by the way, turns out, oh yeah, that Baron that Sunny killed, his Baron, still alive, being nursed to the person who kept him alive was his girl. So that's nuts. Oh, and by the way, his woman was pregnant. The girl that Sunny was with is pregnant, had a child, and has been looked after by one of the men Sunny hates the most. And like the show, like it kicks off right off the bat with, oh yeah, by the way, the Baron, he's still alive somehow. I'm like, how'd you miss his heart, Sunny? I don't know. You're supposed to be the most badass Baron in the world, and you stab him in the chest, and he's still somehow kicking. But anyways, the course of the show, Sunny meets back up with them, he builds bridges, and this is season 2 is where it starts to be pretty much established that the Widow, as noble as her reasonings in the beginning were, it starts to become pretty clear that they're actually kind of selfish, and she's becoming deluded in her own thoughts, that it's not true what she wants, because even her closest ally kind of turns on her and goes, you're just letting us die, like, it's just fuck this, no, fuck this, fuck you. I thought I could trust you, but maybe not. And it becomes pretty clear near the end. And Sunny, is on his way trying to find his wife. Sunny's trying to fight throughout the course of the show, trying to find his wife, trying to find MK2 because he wants MK2. So eventually he ends up finding them all. And in the end, I'm kind of doing this kind of spoilerish free. I'm not gonna get into the details because I want you to go check out the show yourself. But in the end of season 2. It ends on another grim note. Sunny finally actually kills his Baron. Not fake kill his Baron. He actually kills his Baron. But in the process, his wife dies. Or his girlfriend dies. I don't think he wears it. His girlfriend dies. He's left with the baby. You thought for a moment Nick Frost's character died, but it turns out he survived. MK was kidnapped by the Widow. Everything is in disarray. The Widow is rising in power. And massively, and spoiler alert, it's kind of so sad that remember I told you there were 6 Barons? Now there's just 2. She's killed the other ones, or she's either killed the other ones or gotten them to surrender, so she has grown massively. And Sunny's on the run because he's a wanted man, and MK's, like I said, MK was kidnapped by the Widow. This season ends on just as grim or just as, dour of a note that the other season even began on. And there are little things that I left out, but I want you to go check out the show. I gave season 8 an 8.5. Into the Badlands season 1 and 2. What did you think about it? Comment below. What do you think about Into the Badlands season 1 and 2? I'm going to start reviewing Into the Badlands. The season 3 just started, so I'm going to start reviewing that soon. But I really enjoy this show. It's a unique show because the action is so greatly crafted. It's so well done. And I just, it's cheesy It's super cheesy, but it's so well executed super cheesy that I can get over it. And Sonny's such a bad motherfucking protagonist. He does that quiet badass thing so well. That actor needs to get a comic book role. Anyway, thank you for joining me on the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one, my friends. Goodbye.